Hello everyone. I decided to make a video. I don't really know what I can say. I'm still saying the same thing. Einstein's definition of madness. Right? But since I've never gotten any sort of result out of it, it's not technically a valid interpretation of Einstein's definition of madness, is it? Einstein defines madness as someone performing the same experiment over and over and over and over and expecting different results, right? So my experiment that I've been performing all this time is to seek an answer from the industry, from his agency, from the agents surrounding this thing, from the studio surrounding this thing, from everyone regarding what is the truth about my involvement in Quentin Tarantino's 10th and final film, The Movie Critic. Right? And so since no one has said anything at all, then I have to keep asking it. I have to keep asking it until I know what the fucking answer is. Right? And so in my mind, I've told myself 1,000 different things from A to B, like almost, over these 18 months, like going on 2 years now, as to where I belong. And so now, the only logical answer that I have come to in this time is that the film that I wrote Quentin about, right, a hard, difficult, psychological film about a man who reviews pornography, right, is in fact not the film that he wrote, right? It's about a pornographic actor who has dreams of being a writer and becomes a director instead. And so if we say that everything stems from some psychological truth from the writer, from within the writer, right, then obviously, right, what does that say? Right? That Quentin is a man interested in sadistic bondage and rape scenarios who wants to be remembered for being a writer, but knows in his heart of hearts he'll only ever be remembered for his sadism. Right? And so I wrote his agent again today. I'm writing people every day, but I will say that it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. I begged my mother. I was pleading with her. I was crying. I said, please, just buy me a one-way plane ticket. You can't help me. Nothing that's occurring here with my family, with therapists, right? That can't help me, right? That's Quentin exacting his sadism upon me, right? To keep me from the truth. And so the only logical, rational, reasonable, scientific explanation for why Quentin perpetuates this disgusting siege upon me is because all of those women, is 4 women in total, his wife Daniela, another one, Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney, the 2 women that got raped on the continuing adventures of Cliff Booth, that they told him, right, after Tribeca and said, you don't have to behave this way. I don't appreciate you treating me this way. You watched me for all this time. You can look me in the eye and say what you want. That they said, if you're not prepared to reconcile with Brian, we want to go to him and live with him. We want to be with him because the way that you treat us is disgusting and base, and he has been holding them illegally against their will ever since. And so just to be clear, right, just to be all the way caught up, right, with your pseudo-intellectual bullshit notions of psychiatry, right, when someone tells me, oh, well, why don't they just say anything, right? The reason is because they are subjected to the most disgusting psychological siege that they could possibly endure from Quentin as soon as they leave the house every single time, to prevent them from telling the truth or seeking help from the authorities. Yes, that is what I'm saying. And all their agents and everyone around them all just turn a blind eye because there is a deep, deep sickness in Hollywood. It is so disgusting. And so now that I see everything, this is my point when I say, oh, I'm so afraid he's going to murder them at any second, because now we all know. Now we're all caught up. Oh, he's been this evil to me, because he doesn't want me to sue. Because as soon as they're served with papers, he has to give the women up. Right? That's the point. Right? And because he exacted his sadistic evil upon me all this time, he in fact, right, allowed all 4 of those women to be raped probably 1,000 times or more from A to B. That's yes, that's what I'm saying. Right? That you're all operating on this intellectual frequency of sincerity, right? And that's not how psychic occultism works, right? That Quentin schedules dates, allows these women to schedule things for work or whatever, and the second they leave that house, he is on them, making them miserable constantly, right? And as soon as they say anything, right, it's the sickest evil anyone can practice, right? And so indeed, I contend that now it's so bad, he's never going to let them out. Because he knows that I know, and he also knows that they're so disgusted with his behavior that they're in fact just going to say, we have to be strong. We have to say something, right? So no phones, right? Locked in a room. That's what's occurring right now, right? And so this is my point. This is my point when I tell everyone, I say a phone call is not enough. A FaceTime is not enough. He is holding a gun to their head just out of the frame. Right? That you have to send the LAPD there and demand to speak to them alone. Right? So, right? It's not what I wrote about. It's not what I wrote about, but I understand. I understand perfectly fine why they said what they said. Why they told everyone, no, we're going to go to this guy. He's he actually gets it. He's the only man who saw the games that Quentin was playing at and said, no, I don't know. It's not healthy. I'm not interested in you possessing my psyche. And still, indeed, he did, and he does. Right? And as a result of this campaign, he has destroyed his mind. It's gone. He is the most mentally ill man in the world, and he needs to be put in a straitjacket like Hannibal Lecter. Right? That's I can make a palpable scientific and legal argument for why he needs to be held in this way. Yes, that's my point. That's my point. Right? They don't deserve to be held against their will. Right? And so again, right, the argument that people make that's lazy, they say, oh, but we see them on the red carpet. Here's a better question. Do you see them with me? Is it illegal for him to keep them from me? I would say that it is. Right? Oh gosh, who is this guy? That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Right? You just, right? Under oath. You put those girls under oath. And you say, what do you have to say about Brian Jennings? Right? I'm so fucking serious when I say this. I'm so fucking serious when I say this. They're gonna start crying immediately and say, please let me see Brian. Right? Or I'm an asshole who deserves to be in a straitjacket. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Right? So, we all have to fight for these women. We all have to fight for their beauty, right? We all have to fight to hold him accountable, to hold that disgusting industry accountable. He has no right to treat them this way. He has no right to treat me this way. That whole industry is a convocation of felons, right? And they all deserve to go down. So, right? I have so much more I could say about it. Right? Everything that I'm saying is true. There is no hope for any of us psychologically until we are all together, right? I'm not saying I deserve them, but what I'm saying is that I can protect them. That's what I'm saying. Because the hard truth, intellectually, legally, spiritually, psychologically, is that imprisonment can't protect us from him. Right? Only him, like Hannibal Lecter, like this, with the mask, right? Fed through a straw, immobile on a gurney, right? That's it. That's the only way. Where he only has his mind. Right? And even still, he can still be just so wickedly evil. Right? But if he's bound, right, in that way, right, it will help. It's time for him to take back his mind, beyond the fact that it's time for all of us to take back our minds and bodies, right? That's fundamentally true as well. Right? But it's time for Quentin to calm down. It's time for Quentin, right, to go gently into that good night. Right? Right? That he's in his 60s now, he needs to calm down. Right? He needs to see it for what it is. He needs to see that he doesn't control the world. He doesn't control any people. He controls himself, right? And that's it. Right? Right? What's his kids got to say about it? Right? What's his mother got to say about it? Right? They all know he's deranged. That's my point. They all know that he's had a psychotic break. And they're all terrified to fucking call 911. It's so sad. It's so sad how awful that entire industry is, right? To see it for what it is and say, oh no, not like, oh gosh, right? And so what I'm saying is that if I'm going to live in perpetual fear that all of these companies are about to murder me, that when I do arrive at the resources to be able to go to Los Angeles and file lawsuits and bring the LAPD into the equation, right? We ain't stopping at money. Every single one of them is going down forever. Those girls never deserved to be treated this way, to live this way, and I damn sure don't either. So, right? Call the LAPD, right? Someone buy me a one-way ticket to LA. Like, please, right? Like, what does it cost someone? It costs you nothing to do a nice thing, Right? The LAPD needs to go to Quentin Tarantino's house and ask to speak to Daniela alone. And indeed, it's so diseased at that house right now. As soon as the authorities open the door, they're all going to beg for him to take Quentin into custody because he's so mentally ill. He's had a true psychotic break. Let me know what you think. God bless.